Welcome to the MVP Sports Podcast, man, with your host, Marlo Smith, back again, creating more content for all my Buffalo subscribers out there who was with me on All the Way Live Sports. That channel has been removed. I deleted that channel, so this is my new channel. So when y'all catch a hook on to this channel, the MVP Sports Podcast, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you share this channel, because I know a lot of y'all was supporting the kid. So we're going to keep this thing moving. But in this episode right here, I'm going to talk about none other than the Colorado Buffaloes. They're new members to the Big 12. And can they make a run at the college football playoff in 2024? Now, Colorado, the Buffaloes are moving, like I said, to the they moved already to the Big 12. And they are led by none other than mega head coach Deion Primetime Sanders, who's one of my favorite college football, my favorite NFL players. When he played for the Dallas Cowboys, especially Atlanta Falcons, the boy was cold. But I liked him even more when he was with the San Francisco 49ers, because that was my football squad. And when Deion came over to the 49ers, he got us over the hump, because the boys couldn't go nowhere, do anything, couldn't win the games that mattered until prime time got over there on the 49ers side with Steve Young and the boys. But anyway, that's another subject. But the Buffaloes are led by Coach Prime. In his first season at Colorado Buffaloes went 4-8. I mean, they won 3 more games than the previous coach, who only won 1. So that's a good start, but which Colorado could have won more. But for the record, like I said, 3 wins more than the previous coach the year before. Colorado Buffaloes finished the season averaging 28.2 points a game, which they were ranked 60th out of 133 football teams. On the defensive side of the ball, they gave up 34.8 points a game, which ranked 124 out of 133 football teams. But my thing is, Colorado, the games that Colorado lost that were close, they couldn't run the football. And I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of people going to say it was the offensive line. But guess what? Several teams in the college football playoffs struggled to run the football. They struggled to pass block, but they stayed with it. They got a rhythm, and the running game took off. You have to be able to run the football in order to compete at a high level. You can throw the ball all game, put up all the big stats, but when it matters and you cannot run the clock, run time out, and your defense is on the field a lot, it don't matter if it's your offensive line or whatever. If you can have the best defensive coordinator in the game, none of that's gonna matter. When your players are tired and they drain, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose in the clutch when the game counts. You got to be able to run the football. It don't matter who you got at quarterback. It don't matter who you have a wide receiver. We can make a million excuses for the offensive line, but you got to rush for more than 70 yards a game. I'm telling you, so it don't matter. You got to run. You got to run that football. But Coach Prime and the Buffaloes fought hard in most of their games, man. Real talk, I watched every game, and them boys they got blown out a couple times, but some game, them boys were right there in it, man. That foe could have turned to either a few more wins. So they fought hard, and now let's get to the nitty gritty. And the Buffaloes, can the Buffaloes make it to the playoff? That's the thing that I'm finna talk about now. In 2024, Buffaloes have Pat Sherman as their offensive coordinator. I didn't see nothing wrong with the guy from last season. The offense was doing their thing. The whole system will fall if they don't find a running game or commit to the running game. It don't matter who's there, who's the offensive coordinator. It don't matter. You can get the best offensive line coach in the game. If you don't stick with the run, you don't force the run, it ain't going to happen. You only jail by doing it. The more you run that ball and let your guys know up front, hey, we're going to commit to running this ball. We need to be balanced. We need to be balanced. If you're not balanced, you're not going to win it. I'm telling you right now. But Pat Sherman as the offensive coordinator full-time now, and Robert Livingston as the new defensive coordinator. Livingston was the secondary coach with the Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL. Colorado lost 26 players as of May 1st, 2024. Most noticeable Miles Slusher, who came over from Arkansas. Chaz Wallace, who dipped out as well. You got Amarion Cooper. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he went back to Florida State. Dylan Edwards, who was a talented four-star prospect coming out, went to Kansas State. So I don't know exactly what Colorado's schedule look like. They may have to play Kansas State. They may have to see Dylan Edwards out there on the football field. Alton McCaskill, who was a very, very talented runner. See, this is my point of what I'm making. Some may understand, some may disagree, and that's all fine, because some people, they love Colorado so much they don't really, they don't think logically. I want to see Colorado do well, but I'm telling you now, you have Dylan Edwards and you have Alton McCaskill in that backfield. You have to run that football. If the offensive line trusts and believes that you're going to run it, they will find some cohesiveness and they will find a way to open up holes to run that football. The talent was there at running back. I don't want to hear about nobody will stay injured. These boys were ready to play. I don't want to hear none of that. You have to commit to the run. You have to commit to the run. You will never win a national title with averaging 70 rushing yards a game. Because you get to the playoffs or you get in some good games, hey, you're going to have some offensive coordinators. Say you do get out of the Big 12 and you get a playoff berth. You get in there against Alabama, the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Florida States, or whoever else may get in there, the Oregon Ducks. Guess what? If you one-dimensional, they're gonna welcome Shedeur to throw the ball. Because why? You're going to cut loose their athletes. They're going to cut loose their pass rush athletes on him. You are not going to beat a Georgia just throwing the ball. You're not going to beat Alabama throwing the ball. You're not going to beat Ohio State just throwing it. You're not going to beat Florida State. You're not going to beat Michigan. You're just not going to beat Oregon or whatever other team out there. You are going to have to be balanced. You're going to have to be a balanced football team in order to make noise in this upcoming season in the Big 12 or even in the playoff. The Alton McCaskill was a dog. And now you're going to have to find a way to run it. But you got Tavares Dawson, who left. DeMore Kennedy, who I thought was a talented linebacker at Alabama as well. He just couldn't get on the field because of the wealth of talent. Some people say, he couldn't get on he wasn't good enough to get on the field. Come on now. We all know a lot of this time this stuff is just not true. Because half of these guys that came with basic transfers who couldn't get on the field in other places. So I know DeMore Kennedy is a dog. But in order for Colorado to really make a run, they, like I said, I can't harp on enough. They better find a way. Forget the defense. Because if you run the ball and give your defense a break, if you can run it and be well balanced, you can give your defense the breaks it need so they can be fresh to get on the football field. Colorado had some athletes on defense last season. Trust me. They had some really good athletes on the defensive side of the ball. Running out of gas. It will happen. But the average of 70 yards rushing the game got to go up. If they want to protect Shedeur Sanders, they got to average at least 150 yards rushing a game. That's the goal. If Colorado can even get the 120, I'd take, instead of 150, if Colorado can get the 120 to 125 rushing yards a game, that is a big plus. That's the difference between two losses or 2 wins. Because you were going to keep the defense at bay from wanting to get out the Shedeur like that. If you go into a game with Shedeur and all somebody knows they're going to cut loose with him, especially against some good teams, that's what they want. They want to just get in pass rush mode all game. They want to get in pass rush mode all game and go after these boys. But if you can run it, now you're gonna make them think. You're gonna make the defensive line think, and they're gonna be slow to pass rush because they know that Colorado had a threat to run the football. That's what Colorado and Pat Shermer want to put into these opposing defensive coordinators' mind. If they see Colorado come out there and run that ball 30, 35 times, and they got 175 yards in the game combined rushing, and they should do a throwing for, what, 280 to 300, that's a victory. Because now you got to respect Colorado's run. And that's the name of the game. Pat Shermer going to have to do the job. It don't matter who the offensive coordinator is. If you don't run it, they going to be punting. Ooh, I just said something then. If Colorado don't run it, they going to be punting. And that's basically what it is. And the defense is going to be on the field time after time after time after time until they wear out. And that's what's going to happen. But, because my thing is, you don't want Shedeur sitting in that pocket, dropping back, being food on the menu for these talented defensive pass rushers. You don't want him in that pocket all game, getting exposed to hits and getting bum rushed every time to where the man can't even get up off the field. You got to protect him. You got to protect him. And the way you protect Shedeur is, and the defense, listen, it's not just protecting Shedeur. It's protecting him first, but it's protecting the defense second. To give you to be able to rest a little bit and to be able to give you multiple possessions because they were fresh and they was able to go out there and get stops. That's the name of the game. But Pat Shermer has to, like I said, he has to commit in order to better open up more passing lanes for the wide receivers. And the run game keeps the defense guessing and keeps the pass rushers at bay. I can't stress it enough because that is important that this is said and is heard around the globe. Well, it's probably going to be heard around the globe, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. Protect Shedeur by running the football. That's it. That's the goal. All the other stuff is secondary. Talking about the offensive line, offensive line. Every team in the country, even the playoff team, gave up sack or struggled at some point offensive line until they figured it out and got it going. Because they did what? Look at the top teams in college football and look at their stats and see what they did running the ball. Look at Georgia. Look at their offensive production. They was able to do it through the air and on the ground. Look at Alabama. They was able to do it through the air and on the ground. Ohio State, Oregon. Just look at them if you think I'm lying. Check out the top teams and see that they were able to do it both ways. And you protect your quarterback that way. And Shedeur is a talent that you want to protect if you want to get him through the rest of the season. And see Colorado really do some good with the players that they have brought in. Because they have talent. They have the talent. Ain't nothing wrong. They have the talent, but you got to protect the guy. And you protect him by running the football so that man can cook with grease when he do drop back and start looking for these wide receivers. But Shedeur is the key. He's the key player after he put up crazy numbers in 2023. Now let's look at the skill guys Colorado has on the offensive side of the ball going into the 2024 football season. And they have a lot of talent. They have two-way star Travis Hunter who knocked down 31 tackles, 3 interceptions. On the offensive side of the ball, he caught 57 passes for 721 yards and 5 touchdowns. 31 tackles on defense, 3 interceptions. Turnaround on offense, caught 57 passes for 721 yards and 5 touchdowns. He did all that in last season, 2023 football season. Now, they bring in Will Shepherd from Vanderbilt. You got the talented Jimmy Horn, who's still around. It's time for him to step up and do his things. He should be the guy opposite Travis Hunter. And there's nothing to be said. He has the skill set. It's time for Horn to step up and bust the door down and put the numbers up and do what he got to do. Be that dog that they brought him in to be. They had Amarion Miller, who's going to be a fantastic football player. You saw flashes of him doing this thing last season. The guy's going to be a superstar. You watch and see. So they got the weapons on the outside for Shador. Use the running game to open up the passing lane. That's all. And protect your quarterback. You got another speedster from Florida, played at Florida Atlantic, LeJontay Webster. He's a talented guy. He hauled in 108 receptions, over 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns last season for Florida Atlantic. You heard what I said, 108 receptions. The guy was getting the ball in his hand and he was doing something with it. Over 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. You got true freshman Jordan Seaton, who's a dog. We saw him in all the video, well-off media videos. The dude is a straight-up talent. I don't want to hear nothing about the offensive line if things don't go right. Colorado got some dudes on that offensive line, and I don't want to hear no excuses if things don't go right. You better find some other people to blame. That boy Jordan Seaton going to be a dog. And they got some other guys on that line that's going to be some monsters. But they better run the ball behind these big boys, man. Run that football behind these big boys. Like I said, Jordan Seaton on the offensive line. Like I said, kids are really talented. You got Khalil Benson, who is a beast. Khalil Benson is another good player. You got Tyler Brown anchoring the line of scrimmage. Colorado is, they also picked up running back from Ohio State, Dallin Hayden, who rushed for 110 yards on 19 carries and 1 touchdown for the Buckeyes. They had a wealth of talent over there. It was hard to get on the field. But Hayden is a former, let's not forget this, Hayden is a former 4-star running back from Memphis, Tennessee. And this guy was putting up big numbers while he was in high school. So he is a talent. So let's remind everybody that the guy can play the game. Sometimes you just go to a school with so many talented players, and it's hard to get on the board. But it don't matter what you do or who you bring in. I know everybody throw a party when everybody get a recruit. Woohoo! Everybody doing all that fantastic stuff. But you gotta use these boys. Don't bring these boys over there and don't use them. Use the man so he can help you win football games, so he can help Shador stay up and stay on the football field. That's the goal. Put the ball in this young man's hand and let him do his thing. Put the ball in Dallin's hand and let him run. He's a big bruising guy with speed. Let him do his thing. Who else you got? On the defensive side of the ball, they have Levante Bentley, who's one of my favorite players. Used to play for Clemson. He's from out of Alabama, like me. Levante Bentley, he's a really talented guy. You got Chidozie Nwankwo. I said that right. Chidozie Nwankwo. I said that right. I was hoping I ain't messed his name up. You got Trevor Woods, who's still around. Shiloh Sanders, still a headache game, still out there knocking people around. He's still there. You got cornerback DJ McKinney from Oklahoma State. You got Quincy Williams from LSU. So, look, they ain't had no problem getting talent in here. The problem is making sure these guys get on the field. Don't use the talent that you getting to transfer in for your greater good. That's it. Use them, bro. Because one, you're going to need all these guys. You're going to need your first, second, and third string players ready to play. Because it's going to be a grind. Every team in college football better start getting to their 3 deep because it's going to be a grind. Injuries going to pile up because of the gruesome schedules, especially in the SEC and the Big 12. The Big 10. The Big 12 going to be like that also. So you're going to need to have first, second, and third wave of players ready to go. And that's it. But if the Colorado Buffaloes and Pat Shermer can find a way to pound the rock, they will have a legit chance to winning the Big 12 and a spot in the college football playoff. Because I'm going to break down the schedule that Colorado has real soon. And I'm telling you, I glanced at it, but I didn't go out. Colorado, if the offensive line can, if they can stay committed to running the ball, to help Shador stay upright and he can get the ball down the field as well and have a nice rushing game, Colorado could beat anybody in that conference. I'm telling you right now, they can beat anybody in that conference. It can definitely happen. But let me say this. if they abandon the ground game and become one-dimensional, they will be watching the playoffs from the couch. Believe that. They're going to be watching the playoffs from the couch. And I mean couch, but I just said couch. They're going to be watching it instead of playing in it, because you're going to need the ground game in 2024. And remember, I will do a schedule breakdown for Colorado. But make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share the channel. Subscribe, like, and share the channel. The MVP Sports Podcast. It's your new great sports show. Subscribe, like, and share. I'm your host, Marlo Smith, and I'm out. Peace.